Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jay with Civil-Liberties News. I'm here today to ask you a question, and that is, are you ready to go back to real life? The president and governors are talking about these issues, and I don't think it will be long before our country reopens. So what do we need to do to prepare ourselves for that day? Look, I'm big on being prepared, but I will admit this pandemic definitely caught me off guard. The first thing I did when it hit, while everybody else was running around buying toilet paper, I went to Tractor Supply and I bought 12 laying hens, and I also bought a bunch of seeds to start a garden. We were good on food, water, and those things that go bang bang. However, the chickens and garden stuff is something we should have already had in place. Now, going back to real life is going to look different for a lot of people. If you live in rural Montana, it's going to be far different than, let's say, Chicago. I happen to live near a fairly large city of a population around 1 million people. This is what I'm going to do when we go back. And look, if you're one of those people who think this virus isn't real or it's 5G, then this isn't the video for you. Just click off, go find something else to watch, because I'm not with all that BS on the conspiracy theories. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not completely blind to the fact that there are conspiracy theories and some of them are true. I just don't feel that any of those are true. Actually, at this point, my only question is, was the virus made in a lab or was it naturally occurring? We all know it's real. And I will just point you to these statistics right here that's on the screen. So here's what I'm going to do when we go back. Number one, if you have a CCW or concealed carry and you weren't carrying all the time before the virus hit, start now. People are becoming more and more unpredictable. If your state allows for open carry, maybe that's a consideration for you. Number two, get yourself a supply of N95 masks. You know, when this first started and our president came out and a lot of other, Dr. Fauci and all them, they came out and they were like, hey guys, no, don't worry. You don't need to wear a mask. Those are really just for medical professionals. At that time, I was looking at other countries like China and other Asian countries, and I noticed that everybody in the population was wearing a mask. And I'm like, obviously if this virus is transmitted by droplets, then wearing a mask is definitely going to help you. If somebody coughs or sneezes around you, or we still don't even know like how long the stuff can last in the air, get yourself a supply of N95 masks. I happen to be a business owner. My business is of a construction type of business. We do a lot of remodeling, and I already had N95 masks because we use them anytime we're sanding drywall, working around mold, sanding anything really. I've been wearing a mask since the second week of March, every time I go out of my house and I'm going to be around other people. And it's just a layer of protection. I am not super old. I'm in my 40s, early 40s, I would say, and I don't want to catch this virus. None of us know how it's going to act in our body until we have it. They can say all day long that 80% of the people recover, whatever. I don't want to get sick anytime. And throughout my life, I've been able to not get sick very often. I'd like to keep it that way. The next thing you should probably consider is eye protection. We know how the virus is transmitted, and it seems silly to me to be wearing a mask but not covering your eyes, as we know that, the virus can enter through your eyes, right? Myself, I wear safety glasses or sunglasses depending on if I'm inside or outside. I know you're thinking, man, I'm gonna look silly AF. Who cares what you look like? We're talking about your health here. The next thing is you have got to make a conscious effort to keep your hands off and away from your face. If you're wearing a mask and eye protection, I've found that it will help remind you to keep your fingers off your face. Additionally, I don't feel gloves are needed if you keep your hands clean and are aware of what you're touching. Depending on what kind of work you do will dictate how prepared you can be. If you don't have access to running water at your job, like a lot of construction sites, then you need to bring extra water and soap to wash your hands during the day. Which leads me into my next point. Wash your hands and wash them often. If you have hand sanitizer, that's cool in a pinch, but I wouldn't rely on it myself. I feel that washing your hands with soap and water is definitely way better than just rubbing, alcohol all over your hands and letting it dry. We all know we need to keep our distance from those outside our family. This is not going to be business as usual for a very long time, unfortunately, and we need to train ourselves to adapt to the situation. Other things you should already be doing is optimizing your immune system by getting plenty of sleep, eating healthy, leafy greens, fruit, other vegetables. Get a good multivitamin and take it every day, and exercise daily. They say the number one cause or the number one factor that determines whether you have a bad outcome if you should contract the virus is obesity. If you are overweight, and it doesn't even have to be like morbidly obese, people that are like 50 pounds overweight are considered to be like way higher on the bad outcome. Exercising will absolutely help you. I want to circle back to what I said earlier about the first thing I did when this pandemic started. And this isn't so much about what you can do to prepare yourself to go back into the world if you are one that has been staying home, but it's more about what you can do to make yourself a little more independent. And what I mean by that is if you have the ability to raise animals, chickens, goats, anything, you know what I mean? Pigs, cows, whatever, depending on where you live. I happen to live in a city, and it is actually, you have to check your city ordinance. We are legally allowed to own chickens. You just can't have roosters. Depending on where you live, obviously is going to affect whether or not you can do this. But I feel that, we don't know where this pandemic is going, right? Like, this is something that's never been seen before in our lifetime, at least in history. I do believe we don't know what kind of global implications this pandemic is going to have on our economy. Let's say we do go back and there's another widespread outbreak, right? And they close everything back down, and this is just a reality of our life. And then let's say 6 months from now, we've been closed down and our economy starts to fall apart. A lot of people are very dependent on the grocery store, and that is the number one reason when this first started that I was like, I don't know where the hell this stuff is going, but I don't like what I'm seeing, and we need to make ourselves a little more independent. So we got the chickens, we got the seed, and I'm really glad we did, because now I'm seeing all over the news, stores are not letting people buy seeds. They're not letting them, buy quote unquote non-essential items, right? So, just think of things that you can do to make yourself less dependent on the government, because they may not be there for us when, if this should all crumble and collapse. And I don't want to sound like a bunch of doom and gloom, but the more prepared that you are, the less worried you're going to be, right? And that's really my point. Prepare yourselves for everything and anything that you can think of. Protect yourself. Don't take this lightly. Don't think that, oh, if I get it, it's just like the flu. It's not the flu. It's not the flu. It's going to be not like anything that you've ever had before. Maybe you'll be lucky and I don't even know if I would consider this lucky or not, because if you're asymptomatic, then you don't know you have it and you're potentially giving it to a bunch of other people. But maybe you'll be lucky and you'll be one of the ones who had, very mild symptoms. But the reality is you don't know that, and nobody can tell you that. Hey guys, if you got something from this video, please give a like and a comment down below if you have anything that you would like to add to the conversation of things that maybe we should do to prepare ourselves to go back out into the world that I didn't think of. I'm sure there are a lot of other things that we could be doing. If you don't like it, by all means, give it a thumbs down. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later, and take care of yourselves and your family. We'll see you soon. Bye.